is that you work in the notes within notes. And I've talked in the past about how do you get a good groove and all this sort of stuff, or how do you get the right groove and all that, and you work the in-betweens, you see. So what happens with the in-betweens is that when you're actually dealing with, say, a polymetric piece that Stravinsky would write, or John Cage would write, in the classical realm, that sort of business. What would happen is that you have what's known as nested polyrhythms. Now, this is the specialty of Frank Zappa and the Black Page, for instance, that I've played in the past. I won't play it tonight. But what happens is that with this kind of stuff, you start to bounce off two rhythms, you see. So you not only have polyrhythm, but you can also have polymetrics. And polymetric is the art of two time signatures put together. Whereas the polyrhythm is like a 3 against 2, where you play essentially triplets inside, a normal 4/4 or whatever. Now, the one thing, like I said earlier, when you're teaching little poppets and all that, that's a very tricky, definition, you see. So you keep it as simple as you can. So it's just 3 in the time of 2. That's better. And that's what goes on there. So what you have is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... But Teacher to the Stars, Gary Chaffee, who's taught Steve Smith and Vinnie Colaiuta for 2 famous ones. Whenever you see his books, he's always got 3/2, 3 against 2. And that lends itself to, he's a university guy, right? He's actually doing the super advanced lessons and all that. And, of course, when you can boast Steve Smith and Vinnie Colaiuta as 2 past students, you're on the right track, I would think. But that kind of teaching needs to be simplified somewhat when you're teaching little poppets and all that sort of stuff. And just to get a basic handle on it, that kind of thing there. Okay, so what happens is, where was I? I was doing See the Big Fat Picky. You see, what happens is, when I say hippopotamus, Gina Lola Brigida,
you feel my thinking. You are becoming an obsession. Don't you understand? I am deeply in love.
Gina Lola Brigida, Gina.
Hello?
You feel my thinking. You are becoming an obsession. Don't you understand? I am deeply in love.